Welcome to another episode of the OutThere Colorado Podcast. Once again, I'm Spencer, here with Seth.
Hello, hello.
And we got Tim on the sound and the visuals for today. And once again, we've got plenty of Colorado things to talk about.
Yes.
Yes, exciting stuff.
Maybe
Halloween
even
approaches.
some Nashville things.
Yes, maybe even some Nashville things. You might notice this episode's coming out a little bit later in the week than usual. That's because Seth has been on quite the adventure.
Blame it on Nashville.
Yeah, so we'll get started with what we've been up to. But yeah, Seth, what have you been up to?
Just a little bit of a southern odyssey on my end. Got away for a friend's wedding, which was a beautiful wedding, which was in Franklin, Tennessee, which of course placed me and my wife in Nashville for an evening of music.
Honky-tonk
honky-tonkian. And yeah, always a good time on Nashville. Man, I mean, I was glad this visit that I really got to explore, like, beyond Broadway, which should probably be a pamphlet, I guess, in Nashville.
There you go.
Beyond Broadway, because there is so much more than Broadway, right? Broadway being the main strip of neon and live music and honky-tonks and the Ryman Auditorium. Went to the Ryman for a Jason Isbell show.
Nice.
But yeah, I got to bop around other neighborhoods, and that was really fun. Other record stores and breweries and goodies. So that was fun. And then I proceeded to go visit my in-laws in Alabama for a few days. And now I'm back here.
Well, there you go. Any good food?
Always lots of good food. Yeah. Did a little food hall situation in Nashville, which got us some really good, like, street Chinese food. That was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nashville's a popular. Me being from Southern Indiana, Nashville's a pretty popular spot for people to go for their like bachilor parties. Et cetera, you know?
As it is for everyone. I mean, you know, I'm still having nightmares of bachelorettes because they're just everywhere. It's like Halloween comes early, you know. Just they're in costume at all seasons.
Yeah,
in Nashville.
Before we hit record, you were kind of comparing it to Vegas, which I feel like that has like that's a good comparison in terms of that Broadway.
In
vibe.
terms of Broadway,
yeah.
Just neon and can't move your elbows around and people who should not be driving. Put it that way.
A lot of people that should not be driving.
Yep, and they don't. Just having a good time and good music and yeah, it's fun.
Very
fun. What are you up to?
Very cool. Yeah. So this weekend, girlfriend's brother surprised us by coming into town. Wanted to go to Muff's, so we went to Muff's. I had the pork tenderloin for the first time at Muff's. I don't think I've ever.
Is it called the hubcap?
Yeah, the hubcap. But I'm from Indiana. We just call it the tenderloin sandwich. You know.
Yeah. No Midwesties are surprised by what's placed before them.
Indiana state food, right? So I've had my fair share. I don't think I've ever gone anywhere like seeking out the pork tenderloin though.
Yeah.
But it is, known for being that tiny bun or normal size bun that looks tiny on a massive flattened piece of deep fried pork.
It's like the size of your torso. Yeah.
And I got to say, the one at Muff's was good. It was as massive as to be expected.
Definitely.
And, you know, that it's crazy because it's like as big as it is, it's still like, you know, like a half-inch thick or so. I feel like it's like a pound of meat that you're eating. And then you get the pickles and the mustard on it. Yeah, it was good. I'm glad I got it. But then Saturday had first started off, we went to Fossil Brewing Company's.
Their anniversary, right?
11th anniversary. I think 11th, I want to say.
Cheers to Fossil.
Yeah, it was packed.
Love that.
A lot of fans showing up. And then had the Up and Down of Folk and Flannel Festival. It's our, for those of you who don't know, it's a nonprofit that I work with, outdoor recreation focused, meant to make outdoor recreation more accessible in the Pikes Peak region. Our annual festival is the Folk and Flannel Festival. I did not make the flannel decision. That existed long before I was involved. But
you're folk and flanneling still, I see.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we had it down at the Meanwhile block. Had a couple live bands. Had a chili cook-off.
It was over
good.
there.
We got a good turnout.
Kind of like right across from the Widener, the soccer stadium.
Yeah, right across from that. So. So it was great.
I've been wondering about that.
Had a good
space.
time.
So is that like mostly like food trucks that coalesce there, or what is that?
I think they do I think there is some sort of like a food truck court they have there.
Yeah.
But they also rent out a space, which is what we did.
Okay.
So it's a big space inside, right downtown.
Event space.
Yeah. People seem to like it. But yeah, had all our little stands there. They had these flannels that made me think of you, Seth. Yeah. Where this, you know, like, I don't know if you call it mom and pop shop type of thing, but these two retirees Basically, they go and they thrift their flannels,
Yeah.
and then they go and they thrift some T-shirts, and then they find a way to put those T-shirts onto the flannels, and they're very cool. Like you're looking at like I got one with like a NASA T-shirt on the back of it. So I gotta wear that at one of these times. But
Sounds like a story. Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
yeah, it could be a story. But yeah, pretty. I think they said that was their 4th or 5th event that they had participated in thus far. So
That's
yeah,
fun.
they were hot. They were hot. People loved them.
Scooping them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people buying those flannels. So
Sweet.
yeah, cool stuff. And then yeah, went caving on Sunday. So a little bit of
Into the
little
cave
bit of
you
that
went,
into
yeah.
the caves. I was very sore for the next 2 or 3 days after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of crawling and a
I
little
can
bit of
imagine
climbing.
you get very sore after that.
Yeah, it's just
Dude.
very brutal. Like in general,
And
like
muscles that you're not normally engaging.
yeah, it's like trying to like army crawl on the ground, but you know the ceiling might be touching your back, and then
Mhm.
a lot of little sharp rocks here and there that just kind of will suddenly poke you, you know,
Yep.
if you make the wrong move. Weird positions you get in. So yeah, it's a workout of its own type for sure.
My closest thing is my crawl space. So.
Yeah, every time I'm down in the crawl space, I definitely throw on the caving gear. I'm like, headlamp.
You're a professional crawl
It's all
spacer,
it's all dirty.
space crawler by now. Yeah.
Yeah, all dirty and dusty from whatever the last adventure was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Ugh, crawl space adventures.
Yeah, I'd much rather be
Akin
in
to
a cave.
caving. That's funny. I've never actually thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah, caves are better.
Yeah.
Nice and cool.
I'm always like looking
Always.
around for Pennywise the clown.
Right. You're like, I don't think someone's been living in my crawl space, but
Yeah.
not 100% sure.
I'm head on a swivel in my crawl space,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Even like just seeing the thought of like seeing a little mouse or something is like
Yeah.
terrifying. Even though mice, maybe not terrifying,
Yeah.
but yeah. Either way, we got some stuff to dig into
Yeah.
though. Colorado themed things. One big story that kind of broke last week after our last episode. People have probably heard about it by now, but the new 14er, potential for a new 14er,
Right.
yes, new in quotes. A new mountain has not sprung up out of nowhere. But you caught up with some people to chat in depth about that. You wanna go over that?
Yeah, I just chatted with Eric Gilbertson, the man behind this research, which was done with a group of others similarly intrigued and similarly mountain crazed and similarly with a engineering bent, in other words, guys who love climbing mountains and also love to analyze the numbers and elevations of
Mhm.
those mountains. Gilbertson has been on that front for several years now, traveling to high points across the country and on occasion bringing up surveying equipment to get to pinpoint some of these elevations, some of these high points, and
Typical 14er
Yeah.
climber activities. right?
yeah. And the story I'm sure a lot of listeners have heard by now. He was kind of tipped off to this possibility that maybe this similarly heightened point next to Crestone Peak,
Mm-hmm.
this point known as East Crestone.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed that they were very, very, very similar,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Down in the Sangre de Cristos.
the Sangre
There was
de
some
Cristos.
LiDAR that came out back in 2018, 2019, right? That
Yep.
put them within the same margin of error, so
Exactly.
to speak, in terms of
Yeah.
their height.
Exactly. Hence the thinking that, just how super accurate were the numbers associated with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in what could on the ground survey equipment reveal or find that aerial surveying of LiDAR
Mm-hmm.
could not have found. And yeah, sure enough, again, as a lot of people know, as you're very much aware and as you've written about, about 4 inches difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
3.6, right?
Yeah, 0.3 feet, I
Right,
think is what
yeah.
their report said.
Yeah. So in thus changing these technical rules, well-established rules
Mm-hmm.
on prominence,
Mm-hmm.
right, that is now placing East Crestone on the official ranked list.
Yeah, and that's right there by Crestone Needle, right? People
Mhm.
recognize the name from that, maybe.
Yeah.
Crestone Needle, though, has enough prominence to be considered its own peak compared to Crestone Peak / East Crestone, maybe.
Hmm.
And pretty interesting stuff. And
Yeah.
to put it, it's so this new point, which may actually indeed be the summit of this mountain, 418 feet to the east of Crestone Peak.
Mm-hmm.
So
A scramble away is how I was told.
my thought is like, how do they know? Like, you get to the top of a 14er, and it's just
Where
like
to place.
rocks, you know? Like, well, that too, but also it's just like rocks. Like, someone could move a rock from one place to the
Right.
other. Like,
Yeah.
could you make this? Could someone potentially, not
Yeah.
encouraged to, but obviously, but could someone potentially make that other peak shorter or the other one taller? Like, how
Right.
do they know where
He had
that
told
true
me
top is?
that he had, the way he put it to me was that it was very much paying attention to what was an immovable part of the mountain,
Okay,
a formation
Yeah.
that was within the mountain, that was on the mountain.
there you
But
go.
I think that is a point of contention.
Yeah,
I think
well,
that is a question people are asking.
you go out, there's like the Elbert and Massive, right? The two tallest 14ers in the state, where there was
A cairn.
Yeah, people started stacking rocks
Yes.
on the Massive to try to make
A big
it
cairn.
make it taller
Yeah.
than Elbert.
And I think he used that word when I was talking to him. Like, this was
Mhm.
not a cairn. Yeah, this
There
was,
you go.
this was a work of nature.
There you go. That's good
so,
to know.
but not a peer reviewed,
Mm-hmm.
as he's quick to mention, not peer reviewed research here. It's all very laid out on his website, countryhighpoints.com,
Mm-hmm.
where a lot more of his analytical work is posted.
It also notes it's been submitted for peer review
Been submitted right.
to the Journal of Progress and Physical Geography.
with a broader point being made about LiDAR.
Mm-hmm.
And while this is, over the past, in recent years, people are hearing more and more about LiDAR, which is an abbreviation for, what is that? Light and, are you seeing that somewhere? Light ranging. It's aerial data that pings, if I'm understanding it right, pings like a laser over a landscape and comes back with modeling that pinpoints elevations in this context.
Right. So here's what what Google's AI overview says. It stands for light detection and ranging, laser imaging detection and ranging.
Yeah. There you go.
Says LiDAR system emits laser pulses and measures the time it takes for the light to reflect off the objects and return to the sensor.
There you go. And so in recent years, like, people might recall the Centennial Peaks, the highest 100 in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some subtle changes on that list based on LiDAR.
Yeah, by a few feet
LiDAR
in certain
data
places.
is coming back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so to that point of, like, how could ground equipment make such a how could it make more precise conclusions, like we're seeing here with East Crestone and Crestone, is because perhaps there's some issues with what an aerial radar is picking up.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ed, the immovable objects thing, right?
That movable object, yeah.
Like, I wonder if that stack of rocks on some of those 14er summits, like, does that get pinned by LiDAR as the high point?
Yeah. So
Surely
I think Gilbertson's interest and the interest of others is more broadly trying to ask the question of, like, what's the margin of error for LiDAR data, and what could ground equipment reveal?
Yeah, very interesting.
So, in this just being a fairly sensational example of what ground equipment could maybe determine.
Well, you think it's enough for people to go back out? Like, I've been on top of Crestone Peak. I'm like, now do I need to go back out and hit that?
Because I wasn't too clear, because I asked him that question. I was like, would they have just crossed East Crestone going to Crestone, not part of the standard route?
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, you pretty much.
So you'd have to.
Yeah, at the end there, you kind of climb up this little final summit, and you're there. So
for listeners worried, at least in terms of as far as Gilbertson is concerned, and I think others in the mountaineering world, there's a well accepted rule of grandfathered in, right? If you completed a list as the list was accepted at that time, you're good to go. But now going forward, maybe you should be paying attention to what the most accurate and up-to-date list is.
So that's interesting. While you were gone last Thursday, I think it was Thursday, we had Gary Harrington in here. If I remember correctly, he was the 5th person to summit the 100 highest peaks west of the Mississippi. That whole interview is, you can find that on the same podcast channel. And then he's also, I believe, summited the 100 peaks east of the Mississippi. Smaller list of people have done that. But he was talking about how he's about to go back and hit some other peaks because there have been some changes. So in his eyes, you gotta
redo.
Another peak rises up. You gotta
the record books are rewritten.
Yeah. So pretty interesting stuff. I mean, it's is there a right answer?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
yeah,
it was a really interesting conversation.
There's lots of what's the way to put it? In the mountaineering world, there are a lot of, shall we say, flimsy rules, always changing rules, always revising rules.
Yeah.
Or,
that's fair.
New understandings of rules.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting stuff.
I don't think in talking with Gilbertson, I don't think he'd want to, well, in his own words, he said, I don't want to tell people what they should do or what they shouldn't do, and accomplishments are accomplishments.
Yeah, I don't feel like a burning desire to, if this does officially get changed,
yeah,
to go and redo that. But hey, it's a beautiful part of the state, and maybe one of these days I'll be back up there. So
yeah,
that would kind of be my take on it.
Yeah,
but yeah, dang, interesting stuff.
East Crestone.
So another story I think you missed last week, maybe, or earlier this week. Coming out of Durango. So basically, Durango City Council or the County Council, forget which one, don't quote me on it, has proposed a $100 fine for people that are going faster than 10 miles per hour on some of the popular paved trails in town.
More than 10 miles per hour?
Yeah, more than 10 miles per hour, which...
Wow.
They were supposed to readdress it this last Tuesday. I haven't heard an update yet in terms of what happened in that meeting. But yeah, I thought it was interesting because, like, what were you about to say there?
Neither here nor there. I'm kind of vaguely recalling speed limits that I hear about. I feel like 10 is low.
Exactly. I thought you were
hear a lot
say
of
like
20.
15, 20. Yeah. So the thing with 10 miles per hour, people run that fast in Colorado. That's like a 6-minute mile pace.
You run 25 miles per hour. I mean, you're Jahmyr Gibbs down the sideline for the Lions. Did you see that? 23 miles per hour he notched that Monday night.
Yeah. There you
go.
Anyway. But yeah, like people, long distance runners, right? In Colorado especially, 6-minute mile is not unachievable. That's still a very fast mile, right? Yeah. But people run that on a fairly regular basis in Colorado. So that's something where I was like, oh, dang, this would be a pretty interesting change. And $100, like setting that fine at $100 is pretty, that's a pretty steep fine if you get caught doing that. So
I think there'd be a lot of runners proud of hanging up those fines, like
how many times
I was running, I was breaking speed limits on my feet.
Yeah, pretty wild. Obviously, safety is the main concern there. Definitely makes sense in my opinion, at least in certain places where there's high traffic. Can't have someone going around a blind turn at 20-25 miles per hour on their bike and hitting people with a stroller, right? Like that's obviously like a worst case scenario, but it's even just scary to get passed by someone that's going that fast if you're just just like come up on you so quick.
Yep. Well, and to broaden the conversation, my view anyway, is that I think a lot of these, and I'm not plugged into this in Durango, but my view here locally and around the state is that a lot of these conversations are springing from e-bikes.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I want to just say right now, I think this is a careful conversation that needs to be had about e-bikes because I think it's a conversation that all too quickly villainizes e-cyclists, right? E-cyclists, just like standard cyclists, like a vehicle. Vehicles are capable of going a lot faster than other cars. Doesn't mean they necessarily go faster because the driver is abiding by a speed limit, right? Just like e-cyclists and regular cyclists. Cyclists can go a lot faster than any e-cyclist, right? I hope you're understanding my point. I hope people are understanding my point.
Yeah, it's not trying to necessarily blame e-bikes.
This isn't, we're not saying we need speed limits because e-bikes are going crazy fast. I think it's a conversation happening because of perception of technology that's advancing and can go faster.
Well, and I think also what you see too is in general, if you're going to be one of the people going really fast on a standard bike or acoustic bike, as I've heard them called.
Yeah.
there's some skill and experience that comes with that. Whereas anyone going down the street could hop on an e-bike potentially, or most people going down the street hop on an e-bike and hit that 20 plus mile per hour speed potentially, with no skill, no experience, no awareness of the trail. So that's maybe where, or that's probably a factor in it. I think you could say, people that might not be as acquainted with the rules of the trail, so to speak.
Yeah.
Suddenly being able to go extremely fast.
Right.
So,
right. And I think that 20 number, maybe this is conjecture, but I might suspect that 20 number is somewhat based on the classifications of e-bikes and what that motor assist is.
Yeah.
20 miles per hour is baked into those classifications of you're getting, you can get a motor boost up to 20 miles per hour. What is that? Class 1, 2, and 3. Those different classifications.
Yeah, and the 10 miles per hour is definitely the lowest I've seen in terms of that. What is it at Red Rock Canyon in Colorado Springs?
What is Colorado Springs?
Isn't it 15? I think it's 15. I want to say.
But that's a conversation happening in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Right now.
And it makes sense. I mean, also something to take into account in regard to an e-bike, it's way heavier. So you're probably going to do a lot more damage if you were to hit somebody with it, I would just guess. Just because you're looking at bikes that weigh, 30 plus pounds generally. And
City of Colorado Springs lists their trail speed limit online at 20 miles per hour.
20 miles per hour. Yeah.
Go slower when trails are crowded, around corners, or near other users.
Well, and there's also an important component with the Durango situation where the way that ordinance would be written, or is proposed, we'll say, is that it's when other users are around. So that's a key component. So, and I think it said there were no speed limits as of right now for trail users. Obviously, one's physical abilities, like that kind of limits how fast a trail user has been able to go into the past. But like I said, e-bikes, part of the conversation now. So, yeah, I mean.
And they're talking about enforcement by ticketing, huh?
Yeah, police officers and I think like the park rangers can write tickets. So,
because that's another big part of the conversation that I hear. Like, you make these rules, but how can you enforce? How can these be enforced?
Yeah, and I think in a case like this where you're talking about city trails too, probably a lot more presence of law enforcement there, opposed to just a random remote trail. Even in Red Rock Canyon open space, it's like how would you even be able to verify somebody's speed there?
Urban trails and natural trails.
Yeah, very different situation. But I mean, it boils down to safety. Boils down to trying to make sure trail users are getting along and not in fear of getting hurt when they're just kind of a bystander getting passed by.
And I might guess you'll hear this conversation more often.
Yeah,
in the years to come as technology evolves, inevitably.
Well, it'll be interesting too because even in the same vein as e-biking, right? They now have like the pants that people can wear to hike faster, run faster, like an exoskeleton type of thing.
Yeah. Going to be a lot of arguments about Manitou incline records.
Oh yeah, right.
You were wearing the robo pants.
Yeah, 100%. And they work well. You read reviews of them, and it's like people can, and technically they're designed to essentially lighten your load. So, like, if you're wearing a 40-pound backpack, it feels more like 15 pounds or something like that.
Aimed at people with disabilities or people?
Kind of across the board.
Yeah.
I think, like...
I've never looked into that.
On one hand, you have, like, backcountry or, like the backpackers that have a heavy pack. Allows them to go further on less resources, essentially. They're not probably going to be burning as many calories. Yeah. And then, yes, accessibility, always a big thing as well. So, same thing with e-bikes, right? Like,
big time, yeah.
I've seen friends use them in terms of accessibility whenever maybe they're not able to hit some of these trails anymore, maybe as they're getting older. Just thinking of a couple people that I have in mind.
Keep up with friends and family.
Yeah, keeping up with friends and family. Now they're able to. Yeah. Meanwhile, I've also got some very skilled mountain biking friends that could hit the trails that way with your acoustic bike, so to speak. But tend to opt for the e-bike just so they can cover more distance or hit the same downhill stretch multiple times and really get better at that. I think you see that a lot on the chutes in Colorado Springs. People might know that trail, but very pretty. I mean, in the mountain biking world, it's a much talked about trail, downhill traffic only,
Yep.
and you essentially have to shuttle uphill to hit this. You know, it takes good people probably 3 minutes to get down, 3 to 4 minutes to get down it. So now with an e-bike, you can just hit it, 6, 7, 8 times without having to worry about having to pedal all the way back up. At least under your own power alone. So
illegal though.
yeah,
I don't think
is
it's
it
allowed,
illegal?
yeah.
Yeah. So don't
On that trail.
don't go do that.
We're
but-
talking about conceivably. We're talking
Mhm.
the possibilities. I saw a Moab.
Oh no, when I'm running over there, you'll
Yeah.
see
Oh, yeah.
people.
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt.
Not
We've seen it
condoning
for years.
Yeah,
We've
not
seen it for
condoning
years.
it, but
Yeah, Moab. I saw Moab just the BLM just opened up
Mhm.
like 200 miles of trail for e-bikes,
yeah.
class 1 e-bikes around
Yeah.
Moab. Yeah.
Dang. It is
Yeah.
cool too. It's like in the sense of just letting more people see more things.
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of people are limited by the fact that they can't, go bike 40 miles out
Yep.
and back or total, and
Yep.
now with e-bikes, it changes it. So, I mean, it's a debate. There's a lot of sides, a lot of things
Yep.
being talked about.
And we have very much talked about that on this show.
I have no truly strong opinions, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm kind of outside of the world of e-biking, so
Yeah.
I don't know enough to
Yeah.
stand by anything too much.
I've lived in the objective journalist world of the e-bike conversation that's been hot here in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
So I remain in that objective world. I'd like to say anyway.
And I do appreciate it from the accessibility standpoint.
Yeah.
I think that is important. So,
There's a lot of stories of lives changed thanks to e-bikes,
mm-hmm.
no doubt, and fresh air on the face.
Let's talk about somebody who got a little bit too much fresh air
Mm.
and changed some lives.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe or maybe not. But we're gonna get into some spooky stories here for Halloween.
Boy, you really stretched that segment.
I know.
That was-
know. I do the best.
That's impressive. I'm
I can. Do
impressed.
the best I can.
I'm impressed.
Fresh air on his face in the middle of a harrowing winter.
Yeah. I thought
Um,
that's where you were going. Yeah.
Resorted to some, we'll say, unconventional ways of staying alive, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're
let's
continuing.
talk
Our,
about
we're
it.
continuing our spooky
Continuing the
series. Our spooky series segment here on the OutThere Colorado podcast, which continues into next week, right?
Mm-hmm.
In which me and Spencer share a spooky tale around these Colorado mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And this was one that caught my fascination, gosh, a year or two ago. And that is the maybe complicated legacy of Alfred Packer, the cannibal, right?
Famous Colorado
I hope
cannibal.
as people are listening, they're not eating or, if we're talking about a cannibal, inevitably things are about to get a little gruesome.
In all-
a little gross.
In all fairness, there is a Packard dining hall, the Alfred Packard dining hall at
it-
University of Colorado
yeah.
Boulder. So
And somehow people go in and out with appetites there, I guess, huh?
yeah.
And there's the Packer. Is Lake City still doing their Packer Days, that festival? I think Lake City there was another
Mhm.
Packer cafe at one point or another.
This is kind of funny. So the name of the dining hall is the Alfred Packard Dining Hall.
Yeah.
At least as far as I know, unless something's changed. And then on the website for that, it talks about how they make sure they label all allergens, all nutritional information, all carbohydrate counts, etc. Meanwhile, the dining hall is named after a reported
Yeah.
cannibal.
I'd never seen that. That's great.
But yeah, Alfred Packard.
So the tale, the maybe more twisted tale of Alfred Packer, you might say. We all know Alfred Packer, the cannibal, one of the most infamous, maybe the most infamous, notorious character in Colorado history. Maybe not a more villainous name in Colorado history. But could he be innocent? This is a question that has been asked over the years behind sort of the popular narrative of Alfred Packer. Could this legacy cemented some 150 years ago be a little more complicated? Right? So what we know about him, to catch people up, is that he was the lone survivor of what was a clearly doomed exploration in the San Juan Mountains. Him and this small group of, I think, 5 others were overcome by snow and blizzard, and it was 5 bodies that were found later in 1874. So he had emerged down, the lone survivor, and they were found in 1874 with signs of being eaten. Right, the suspicions rise about these bodies not appearing quite normal. Right, and so flash forwarding a little bit. Yes, Alfred Packer admitted to eating the meat of his fellow man to stay alive, right? But did he kill them? That is the question, certainly the question of, as far as the law is concerned, which I'll explain very briefly, but also maybe the question as far as his legacy is concerned, this villainous legacy is concerned. Because cannibalism for survival is not illegal. It is, throughout the history of voyages and journeys gone wrong, there is a long history of members of parties dying and other members trying to survive by eating their remains, right? There's a long history of that, and they are not committing crimes when they do that. They would be committing crimes if they killed that member of the party first, right? So that is the question that's been asked about Alfred Packer over the years. And it's more complicated for 2 reasons: for his own confessions being a little mixed, and also for that time. I mean, I think I've said this on the show before. If people think journalism is sensational today, read the papers back then.
Right.
in the 1870s,
people literally
and 1880s.
just making up stories,
Straight
literally
up.
just to
Straight up.
try to get it
Straight
published.
up.
Yeah.
And if you think juries and judges are influenced today, arguably even more so back then, right? Along with the general population, very swayed. There's some onlookers who would say that Packer was convicted by popular sentiment more than the ins and outs of his actual case, right? So yeah, what can we derive from that time is pretty murky. But regarding his own confessions, yes, he said that he said that members of the group were eating one after another as they died naturally, and he did say he killed one guy in self-defense, a guy by the name of Shannon Bell, right? So more modern forensics, and again, out of self-defense was his big point that he tried to make clear. In like the 80s and 90s, some modern forensics and investigations kind of caught on to this tale, and they kind of yielded mixed results of maybe guilty, maybe innocent. There's a fascinating book that was published in 2015, written by a true crime historian and professor who probably detailed the case of Packer more than anyone ever has. Probably looked into his case probably more than anyone ever has in his life and whatnot. And as the author wrote, his considered belief was that Packer was in fact a murderer. But he also concluded that due to the lack of evidence, the extreme lack of evidence, he should not have been found guilty. But he was found guilty in 1886, guilty of manslaughter, sentenced to 40 years in the state pen in Canyon City. And from there, he'd go on to write, along with others, pleading to be understood. And it seems like he gained some sympathy, explaining his early release. Lived out his last days in Littleton, where he made one last plea, saying, I want to die clear in the opinion of my fellow man. And it would seem he never would, right? Because every Halloween, you and me and everyone else talks about Alfred Packer the cannibal, right? And whether he was the villain that we all know him to be is still up for debate. That's my spooky tale of the day.
Man, it's interesting.
That's not, it's more complicated than spooky.
I like it. It fits. It fits. I'll accept it.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, I wonder how the evidence gathering even happens in a situation like that when you're dealing with somebody who's up there in a very remote area, very remote backcountry.
And there's not even a he said thing. There's just a he said.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a snowstorm. I think they found the camp eventually where they were at.
And they found the bodies.
And even still, I mean, you got to think like animals are scavenging it. Like the evidence is not going to be that clear cut, I would imagine.
Yep. The modern forensics were focused on, I guess, there was a rather amazing discovery or reported discovery out of a museum in Grand Junction that claimed they had the pistol that could have been the murder weapon. It could have been, and I can't remember if that was one. There's been several investigations that said he's a murderer and several more that said, nope, maybe this is the murder weapon, but we don't know who the murderer was, right?
Yeah.
Or
what happened. And I mean, especially consider the scenario where you're in a true survival scenario in whiteout winter conditions.
Yep.
Like there's a reason people have a hard time remembering things from dehydration, lack of sustenance. Like you're going to forget details no matter what. And like your brain's going to be foggy when you're eventually rescued. Like that is not a time where you're fully functional from a cognitive level.
Yeah. And again, you can't ignore the discourse of the day that was so focused on this monster in Colorado, right? A time when the Wild West was still wild, but also changing quickly, right? And there was still a part of the nation that wanted to hold on to this idea of heroes and villains, right? And here was a very convenient villain, right?
And at the same time, too, it's like you're essentially living in two different worlds, whether you're out in Colorado or whether you're like on the East Coast where they've started to develop some of these cities that are still, have similar infrastructure to what they have today. People that are in those cities there probably have no clue what the Wild
West
have
possibly
is like.
Gone through.
Yeah, they don't understand that because all they have to understand that by is probably these news reports, which were often fabricated. Ultimately, it's like they can't pop on and watch like 19 or like 1883, like on Netflix or whatever.
I don't think Packer didn't help himself. It seems because in the sense that it seems like he was a pretty weird guy. He, and I think he suffered from maladies that made him, in the eyes of others, a weird guy, right? It seems like he didn't make many friends. Yeah. So,
I mean, the dude's going on months-long expeditions, often by himself into the wilderness.
Takes a certain dude, right?
Yeah, a certain type of person to go do that. Especially back then when you're every single day is a matter of life or death.
Yeah. There's a great History Colorado podcast about that subject as well. I would point people to if they want to bear some more cannibal talk.
Well, if you want to bear a little bit more right now, there's another Colorado cannibal that doesn't get talked about much, and that is Big Phil.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with it. I've heard that one, but I haven't dove in.
Yeah, Charles Big Phil Gardner.
Phil
was never formally charged with his crimes, so to speak. Allegedly a cannibal. He was charged with murder and was sentenced to serve life in prison in Philadelphia. During some riots, he apparently killed somebody, and then he broke out of jail, essentially. So he escaped with two other guys. They made their way to Colorado. They were supposed to hop on a wagon train, but they didn't quite make it. So then it's just the three of them going across. Eventually, they allegedly raided a home, which resulted in one or two fatalities. I think one. So then all of a sudden law enforcement's even more so on their case, and kind of like these militias that used to exist back in the day, just in the local area on their case. Big Phil was faster. He got away. His two comrades did not.
Big but fast.
Yeah, big but fast. Long legs. Eventually made it to Colorado, though. And started a life on, I think it was the South Platte in that area. But started a life there in an Arapaho village. Had 2 wives and children there. Eventually would go on, though, to allegedly eat one of his guides during a snowstorm and later brag about it. Maybe another sense of desperation there, similar to Packard, but apparently he was a little bit more clear cut, maybe, that he had killed this guy and then eaten that person. And then later during a rough winter was said to have eaten one of his wives too. So
Wow.
2 different cases of alleged killing and cannibalism by Big Phil in Colorado. So for some reason he doesn't get much talk at all, at least in the history books. And sounds like he was a pretty braggadocious person when it came to these stories. So also allegedly he had met I think it's Edward Wynkoop, right?
Huh.
That's one of the founders of Denver. So
Yeah.
had met him at some point. So he was a character that was a real character in Colorado. People know he existed.
No
but,
kidding.
Yeah, he said he preferred to eat the feet and hands over other body parts. Pretty gruesome fact there.
Very braggadocious.
Yeah, and that's from the Denver report in the Denver Library. So, yeah, very disturbing stuff, but shows you how wild the Wild West was.
Some truly wild characters.
Back in the day.
Truly wild. Yeah.
What else we got here, Seth? You want to talk about this new troll?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that's something.
Also kind of Halloween focused.
Yeah.
Another troll coming to Colorado. Before everyone gets excited about one of those big, massive wooden trolls built by Thomas Dombo in Breckenridge and in Victor, this one's going to be very different. Talking about a metal troll, okay? So Palmer Lake, there's a committee in Palmer Lake kind of dedicated to building up the community, doing good things for the community, doing good things for business, more precisely. And they identified getting a troll. Got to get one of these trolls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've turned to a local artist and monument, a metal worker and artist with an amazing name, Bliss. Last name Bliss. Right?
I like it.
For an artist.
Yeah, I like it.
She's putting together this metal troll that so it won't be big and wooden. It's going to be sitting down. It's going to be about 8 feet, he says, compared to, I think, isn't Isaac Hartstone and Breckenridge closer to like 15, 20?
Yeah, 15 to 20 feet.
In those ranges.
Yeah.
So put things in perspective there a little bit. But importantly, it will be Colorado's first troll sitting under a bridge.
Ah, fitting.
Of course.
Yeah, there we go.
Needs to sit under a bridge, right?
I like it.
So if people are familiar with Palmer Lake, there's that pedestrian bridge that kind of goes from the town where all the businesses are over to the actual lake of Palmer Lake, to the park there.
Mm-hmm.
So this troll will be sitting under that bridge in the months to come. Maybe December, this artist is thinking, but could be after that.
Very cool.
Something to watch out for.
I like it.
Gotta have, troll news, We need troll beat writers in Colorado.
We really do. Because there's also the one at, Glenwood Caverns?
Right.
Right?
So I think it's going to be the 4th troll that I'm aware of.
Yeah, 4th troll I'm aware of
Does
as
that sound
well. Yeah. Well, yeah, speaking of upcoming things with a kind of spooky twist, the coffin races are this weekend in Manitou Springs.
Oh, that is this weekend. Yeah.
I think it's October 25th.
Do you go to that?
I've been down there one time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it gets packed. Tens of thousands of people, but
it's crazy.
Kind of another little, not really a spooky story necessarily, but there's some cool history behind the festival. The festival started in 1995. Piper Russell, one of our OutThere Colorado writers, just covered this the other day. But it's formerly known as the Emma Crawford Coffin Races and Festival.
Mm-hmm.
So Emma Crawford was a former resident of Manitou Springs, basically moved to the city. This is back in the late 1800s. Moved there back 1889 in search of a cure for her tuberculosis. She wanted the crisp mountain air, as it is said. And then there's also the mineral springs there. Maybe there's some healing properties with those, she believed. So moved to Manitou Springs, which there was a whole aspect of tourism. People don't realize that really with Colorado Springs. A large part of the city back in the day was built because people were moving here in search of this crisp mountain air.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the homes, the older homes that you see kind of north of downtown, a lot of those used to be tuberculosis wards in a sense. A lot of them have kind of the big glass domes where it'd be like the outdoor space where you were supposed to sit and heal or lay and heal.
Yep.
So either way, this is what brings Emma Crawford to Manitou Springs in the Pikes Peak region. Sadly, she did end up passing away at the age of 28 2 years later in 1891. One of her dying wishes, however, was that she would be buried on the slopes of Red Mountain. It was a mountain that she really liked to hike a lot. So basically, she told her husband, who was a civil engineer on the Pikes Peak Cog Railway, told him that she wanted to be buried on Red Mountain. He honored her wishes, and they buried her near the summit of that peak. It's a little mountain outside of Manitou Springs. You can see it from the city.
Great hike.
Yeah, very, very good hike in that area. Iron Mountain too.
Do them both.
Yeah, 2 hikes in Manitou Springs. Worth checking out. The mountain itself, I think, is a little bit over 7,000 feet. So nothing too crazy, but good views of the city. Either way, 1929 rolls around, and after just kind of the years of all this rain and the years of the harsh winters, turns out her casket was not buried well enough. It became dislodged and is said to have raced down the mountain, maybe down Main Street right there in Manitou, and or down the Main Street in Manitou. Eventually was found by residents of that town. And yeah, that's where the coffin races come from. So
and so now today, as people may or may not know, bunch of teams dress up and they have a theme that they dress up as, and their coffin, or if you want to call it that, their contraption is related to their theme, and they race it down the road. Super fun time. It really is.
It attracts massive crowds.
Yeah.
It is a party in Manitou Springs.
I think I've seen like 10,000 people.
Yeah. It's a lot of people.
Which, how many people live in Manitou Springs? I don't know. Yeah, it's I can speak for experience. It's a big time. But if you can get there, if you can figure out parking.
4,600 people live there, and you used to be one of them.
That's right.
You used to live.
I used to be one
Springs.
of these Manitoids.
So would you just walk down to the fest? Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Those were the days.
I can't imagine the parking situation is anything short of absolute chaos on those days for people driving in.
Look up the parking rules. They seem to change every so often, but I would park like at the high school.
Yeah, there would
be parking at the high school and then walk for. There's a shuttle, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I think usually there's a shuttle of some sort that you can check out. The teams check in at 8 a.m. The coffin staging happens at 10 a.m. So I guess that's about like when the races start happening. And there's a parade as well. The races happen after the parade.
Yeah.
So around noon, and then is when the races happen, and then there's an after party. So
everyone fills into the bars.
Yep.
Music usually. Yeah.
A lot of costumes.
Super fun.
Very kind of a cool Halloween tradition.
No doubt.
I would say.
Especially with the kids, and yeah. Good way to go.
Yeah, cool stuff. All right, what else do we got here? We got you got some ski swaps to talk about.
Yeah.
I've got one more event to kind of throw out there, and then I'll end us on a creepy story.
Check out the ski swap coming up. Maybe people in Denver, I'm pulling up the info. Yeah, maybe people in Denver got to the debut one last year. This is the Rocky Mountain Ski Swaps. It's a outfit based in Utah that has put its eyes on Colorado to expand their footprint. Lots of these they organize around Utah. Last year they debuted in Denver, where you can get new and used gear and clothing and what have you from individual people trying to move some inventory, as well as small and big retailers, right? Moving some inventory. So looking for a chance to maybe get some gear that you need for this season at a discount, this could be a good way to go. One in Denver, coming back November 14th and 15th. And then here in Colorado Springs, it's debuting at the Roy J. Wasson Academic Campus. And that's starting tomorrow.
No doubt.
Going tomorrow and Saturday. So maybe something to check out in the Springs. And then, like I said, November 14th and 15th at the Jeffco Fairgrounds.
Very cool. You got a bike swap to
And then there's a bike swap. I'm on the swap news, man. Yeah, so VeloSwap coming back to Denver at the National Western Complex. So I got that name right? November 1st. So surely cyclists, at least familiar, know about that name. VeloSwap, big name in the bike expo world. Over like 30 years old now.
Very cool.
Going on November 1st, one-day event. Similar concept, new and used gear from retailers big and small, along with just individuals moving some stuff, kind of a year-end sale. Interesting that ski season's starting up and you can get some discounts on just as bike season is winding down and it's time for year-end discounts on
Very cool
bike stuff. So
I like
yeah.
it. Hey, bike season never really ends around here though.
True. Especially on the Southern Front Range.
Going. Yeah.
Southern Front Range, no doubt.
So here's an event that I saw this week. They have released dates for Boot Tan Fest. It's a women's only event that takes place at Sunlight Mountain Resort near Glenwood Springs. It's known for its naked ski lap, said to be the world's largest naked ski lap that takes place.
What's it called? Boot Tan Line?
Boot Tan Fest.
Tan Fest.
Outside of just the lap though, or the naked ski lap.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like booths and music and obviously skiing and everything. Men are not allowed to attend that, but it takes place from April 10th to April 12th. So yeah,
they do that every year.
Yeah, they do. It's the 6th annual. So they used to do it briefly. They did it at Bluebird Backcountry when that was before that closed. I think I want to say it's been at Sunlight. I know it was there last year.
Yeah,
maybe the year before that.
And as we all know, there are less formal occasions for this toward the end of the year across Colorado ski country.
We don't condone those either, but
no.
If it's legal, go for it.
Ladies Fest, one for the ladies. It sounds like cool.
They shut down the mountain too, so it's a private event as well. So kind of interesting.
Freewheeling Colorado.
So
man.
there is one before I tell you my spooky story. There is one other thing I wanted to talk about. So this story came across my desk yesterday. Basically, a hiker in New Hampshire, East Coast hiker, 23 years old, called for search and rescue in need of help near the summit of a 4,760-foot mountain in the Lincoln area, for those of you that are familiar with New Hampshire. Basically calls it like 6 p.m.-ish. Search and rescue goes out, saves this guy. They find him with no food, no water, and no light. So not at that point in the story, definitely not ideal, but at that point in the story, Coloradans will be like, yeah, I've heard of that happening before. The kicker here, though, is that hiker is going to have to pay for that search and rescue effort. Not something they do in Colorado, but apparently something they do in New Hampshire. So I thought that story is kind of an interesting segue into just, the charges behind search and rescue. In Colorado, search and rescue is free. It at least as long as you don't need a helivac or like an ambulance, medical transport from the scene. But for volunteers, it's always a volunteer team to go and find you on a trail up in the mountains. There's no charge that is associated with that, regardless of the reason why you're there. Whether it is due to just lack of preparedness or otherwise. The reason that Colorado, and we have an interview on this on our podcast channel that you can find with Anna DeBattiste, who's a spokesperson for Colorado Search and Rescue Association. But basically the reason in Colorado that there is not a charge is because they don't want people to feel like they can't call for help out of fear of being charged. Mm-hmm. To that point, it's like you get lost on a trail. They don't want people to sit there and continue to get more lost or, suffer the consequences of being lost, just out of the fear of that financial consequence. So
there's some liability to that as well. If you're paying for it,
I don't know.
There's a little more liability to mention.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's why they waited until after the fact to tell them they're going to be charged in New Hampshire. It kind of begs an interesting question, because I would say, like, anytime we publish a search and rescue story, whether it's due to lack of preparedness or otherwise, even if it's just someone that had a bad day on the mountain, I guarantee you one of those Facebook comments is going to be like, we need to charge them for this rescue. The only people will learn is if you attach a penalty to it. So I don't know. I mean, what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on that, Seth?
Well, I will say this: it's not free. I mean, in the sense that the people who step up to do it,
Mm-hmm.
sacrifices they're making.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in some cases, definitely financial for them.
Yeah.
Gear and whatnot, right?
Yeah, I think
But
Anna.
personally, yeah.
I want to say when Anna was on, she said your average volunteer ends up paying around $2,000 to $2,500 a year out of their own pocket,
Out of their own pocket.
just to participate in search and rescue. And that's not even accounting for all the training and everything that you have to do prior to even being accepted onto a team. Like, it's highly competitive to even be involved in a lot of these search and rescue teams. But yeah, that's out of their pocket every year.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty wild.
Thinking about the SAR card, right?
Yeah,
it's known.
Yeah, the Corsair card.
Yep.
Yeah.
A way of giving back to that.
It is, yeah. Everyone go purchase your Corsair cards. I think a 5-year card is like, I want to say it's like $15.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get any extra benefit from purchasing that card. Everyone gets rescued whether they have that card or not.
Mm-hmm.
But what it does do is it makes it a little bit easier for whatever teams are helping you in a situation to get that money, opposed to it just kind of being divvied up.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I mean, a lot of the funding comes from I think they keep Colorado Wild Pass on the registration.
Yeah, there's a portion of that.
Yeah, and then the hunting licenses, and like if you have a OHV, like a ATV or a dirt bike or something, a portion of that goes to search and rescue. I want to say some of the Colorado lottery money also might go to search and rescue. Don't quote me on that one for sure, but
there are revenue streams.
Yeah, it's not necessarily coming straight from the taxpayer,
right.
You know, in that regard.
Fees.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of agree with them in a sense in terms of keeping it free to prevent bad situations from getting worse. I think that could be something where, like, if I was lost on a trail and I was like, oh shoot, they're gonna charge me $10,000 for saving me. I'm like, I'm gonna try to find my way out of here a little bit, a little bit more.
Like the similar case of sad situations, people who don't have health insurance, right? They stay away from doctors' offices when they should be going, right?
Yeah, maybe it's similar in that regard. But either way, something that kind of contributes to a hot topic, at least in our Facebook comments.
Yeah,
of whether or not people should be charged whenever they are in need of rescue. But yeah, let's get to this creepy story that I have, and maybe not
one
creepy.
more spooky story.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily creepy, or maybe spooky, I guess you could say. The headline for this piece, though, if you want to look it up and read more in depth, is "Ritualistic Crucifixions May Have Occurred in a Scenic Colorado Canyon." You've written about this canyon before. Penitente Canyon.
There, yes.
Yeah, you've been there. All right. At down Del Norte area. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
kind
it
of between
like?
there and Sawatch?
Yeah. What's it like to just describe the setting before we get into why it's a little
kind of like low-lying canyon.
Might
be a way. Like you're in the space and you feel like you're between some high rocks but not soaring rocks. Very popular climbing area. Yeah. Right. It was kind of on the front lines of sport climbing back in the 80s, 90s there, right? And yeah, you're kind of surrounded by greenery, low-lying greenery, and lowish lining rock. You can feel the wind kind of rush through this low canyon every now and then.
Setting up the spooky.
There you go. I'm teeing you up.
Yeah, no. So back in the 1980s,
out in the desert.
Yeah, out in very remote Colorado, not a super heavily trafficked place, but unless you're rock climbers looking for the climbing.
That's part of the amazing thing about it too. You when you're driving whatever that road is, that highway, you would not expect to suddenly be in a low canyon like this, because it feels like just wide open, as people know the San Luis Valley, and then all of a sudden you're transported to this canyon. Yeah.
Yeah, and so back in the 1980s, when Seth's talking about how this rock climbing there really started to take off, all of a sudden a mural appears.
Right, still there.
The Virgin of Guadalupe, meant to be the mother of Jesus, right? And essentially, what was believed, no one really knows exactly how this mural got there, but it is just right up on the wall. This colorful mural, pretty high up on the wall too. So like, it took some effort to get it there. What people believe this mural is a result of is this religious group back in the late 1800s that used to use the canyon as a sort of like a hideout, right? They were called the Los Hermanos Penitentes, and they were kind of pushed outside of society and pushed into this level of secrecy due to what has been described, at least in the Crestone Eagle reporting, as radical rituals. Some of these rituals were said to include whipping themselves, self-flagellation, I believe is what it's called, carrying of really heavy crosses, and then also like crucifixions that took place. So the information gets a little bit murky about whether or not these actually took place in the Penitente Canyon. That being said, descendants of the people that were involved in this group back in the late 1800s were said to have painted this there. So some signs definitely point to maybe their presence in this canyon. Still comes with a bit of a maybe. There is one pretty famous photo that exists of one of these crucifixions. They were known as being like a very strict, I believe it's, a non-traditional sect. Very strict of Catholicism. So that's kind of where this religion stems from. But one of these pictures, it shows a group of men around somebody that's on a cross. I think the photo itself was taken back in 1888. So you can find that on our website, or if you just Google that, it pops up pretty easily. So pretty interesting historical tidbit about this canyon. With that photo too. So the back of that photo, at least where it's in the libraries today, the description of that is, this picture represents actual crucifixion of one of the penitentes. The authorities try to stop these barbarous religious ceremonies, but not with entire success. The negative from which this was taken is the first ever obtained, and it was done with risk of the life to the photographer. So, very secret group. Not a lot known about them.
A reason why we don't know much about them.
People would be punished, or members of the group would be punished if they talked about the group. Kind of going back to the Fight Club type of thing. Don't talk about Fight Club. Known to be in that like New Mexico area as well, kind of northern New Mexico,
southwest there. Yeah. I talked to climbers back in those early days of sport climbing there, old timers now, but they talked about seeing those guys.
Really?
Being aware of them. Yeah.
Well, and so this is a quote.
Claiming they did, yeah.
Yeah, and so this is a quote from the Crestone Eagle, basically about whether or not they're still around in this Colorado Canyon. It says, while curious ceremonies and rituals of the sect dissolved over time, rumors suggest descendants of Los Hermanos will still visit the canyon today, making it a place of continued cultural and spiritual significance.
And a lot of other deeper cultural, spiritual significance going in there. I mean, you can see it on the walls. There's petroglyphs on the walls.
Oh, really?
From cultures long ago. Yep.
Wow.
All just maybe contributing to, there is an eerie feeling in that place, man.
Interesting.
Like, and maybe it's just because I went there having heard from a late friend of mine here, Stuart Green, regarded as a climbing historian who knew all these places. And he had told me of just like feeling creeped out in there often and like running to his vehicle. So maybe I just went in with that mindset, right?
Well, once you hear the background too, it's
I
wonder if that changes. Like, I wonder if you were to just drop somebody in there, no knowledge of anything. Stuart Green's actually the person who took one of the more famous photos there of the rock climber up on the wall on a route called Virgin No More. There's someone climbing there by that mural. So
there's some interesting names for those routes. Very cherished among rock climbers.
Yeah.
And getting more on the scene for mountain biking.
Interesting.
The BLM has steadily expanded the mountain biking around there over the years. Yeah. And just it just feels remote again. Probably that lends to it too. Like remote in the remote San Luis Valley.
Yeah, you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
In a valley that's known for kind of these mysteries that pop up.
No doubt.
Snippy the horse, right? You
more broadly across
UFO
San Luis
sightings.
Valley.
You got Crestone there, which always all these little tidbits of
stuff,
rumors circulating around Crestone.
Yeah.
Just open vastness and not many people, a lot of space.
Yep.
Interesting part of Colorado.
Love
for
the
sure.
San Luis Valley.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And you also got the sand dunes and the Colorado Gators Park.
Yep. Weird stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, well, hey, I think
Good story.
that's about all we've got to chat about today. So I guess until next time, I'm
Yes.
Spencer,
I'm Seth.
and we'll see you out there.
Yep.